Are these the fantasy basketball waiver wire ads that are going to win your league? Probably not, but let's talk about it anyway. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I'm haunting this house with my whiteness. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find this podcast free every day on all platforms as an everydayer, as a double banger. You are here enjoying it, I hope. I hope you're here doing that. Don't forget to sign up at lockedondaily.com, and that is where you find the free daily newsletter for your favorite NBA team, lockedondaily.com. And if you hit the subs on the audio and video side, well, I have to officially dub you as a legend. Simple as that. It doesn't go any other way. We're here to talk about Thursday's games across the league. There's only 6 of them on. We've got a regular 7 p.m. start time, so we're going to talk about waiver wire streams for points leagues, Yahoo and ESPN, and then the individual category league streams as well. Go over the injury statuses we're watching, two-way and 10-day contract status tracking too. You know how these shows go by now, I'm guessing. I hope. Maybe not. Who knows? It is National Burrito Day on Thursday, April the 3rd. So get your burritos out. Burrito. Okay, so what's better, burrito or taco? Let's have an argument down, or you're going to throw a quesadilla or a chilaquile or a, what else can we put in there? Obviously, quesadilla, chilaquile, enchilada maybe. Nah, burritos are the GOAT to me. Better than tacos, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Let's get it started with some arguments. What are we going to talk about here? We're going to look at the schedule on Thursday and how that plays out over the rest of the week and into the final week of the NBA season. So we'll just start by looking at where we've got some back-to-back 6 teams involved in back-to-backs through Thursday. 2 of them coming into Thursday, on Wednesday into Thursday. That's the Miami Heat and the Washington Wizards. I don't believe that Andrew Wiggins plays in either of these games. The one you got to watch in Miami is going to be Duncan Robinson. Otherwise, I don't think you're going to have back-to-back rests. The Wizards we have to watch to see whether they give an opportunity to Richaun Holmes, and part of the projections will suggest that he does. That he does get an opportunity on Thursday's games, which might impact the big fella, Tristan Vukcevic. We might get vucked in those games. You never know. Are we going to make that a thing? Yes, censors. I am saying it with a V, not an F. It's a V. What about the Thursday to Friday back-to-back? It's the Warriors heading into that Thursday-Friday back-to-back. I don't think they're going to be worried about resting too much just because obviously they're still fighting for standing positions. The Lakers, you're going to have Rui Hachimura sit one of these games. Luka and LeBron, I think, will be okay. In Portland, let's just go ahead and tell you now that it's April, so we're not having Jeremy Grant, and I think they might be just easing off some of the other stuff. The big one is going to be Toronto. We know what Toronto has been doing. They have been sitting. They've been sitting Barrett and Quickly and Pirtle, alternating on and off. And the guy that hasn't been sitting is Scotland Barnes, because he's subject to the NBA's rules about all-stars and got to have him out there, even though he plays 24 minutes and plays like garbage most of the time. But I will say this. They got a Thursday, Friday back-to-back, and Thursday's against Portland. And I think on a back-to-back, you can probably swing it with the NBA and say, look, Barnes has had these ankle problems. He's had his hand issue, wrist issue, whatever. And I think if they sit him, and I don't know this for sure, but I think there is a greater than 50% chance that Scott Barnes does not play on Thursday. First game of back-to-back. They then have some games on Sunday against Brooklyn, Charlotte, and then the Spurs on the Sunday after that. And we know that they are at risk of the Spurs catching them if they keep winning games. So I do think in this game against Portland, who have just sort of flipped into maybe we ease off and try to lose, although they won yesterday against the Hawks, I do think that Barnes is a huge risk here. I already believe that Quickly and Pearl are out. That's done. I think Barnes is at risk of sitting one of these games. And if he had to sit one, I think it will be Thursday's games. Of course, I'm speculating, but that's what we do. If we look at the 5s and 2s, who's got 5 games or two games over the next 7 nights? And there are 2 teams. The Warriors and the Lakers, jam-packed schedule, 5 games, 7 nights. That, of course, means 2 sets of back-to-backs. So watch for 2 games missing from Rui Hachimura, which means 2 spike games for Jaxson Hayes. And with the Warriors, maybe Steph and Jimmy get one of those 5 games off. I don't think it'll be the games coming up in this first set of back-to-backs, but it very well could be. because they play the Lakers, then the Nuggets, the Warriors, and they go Rockets, then they have Suns, Spurs, and that Suns, Spurs back-to-back at the end of this 7-day period for the Warriors is where I do think that games will be sat, because they're going to run a Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland in 3 of their last 4 games. And that back-to-back is where I do think that Butler and Curry and Draymond probably get a game off across those days. Let's take a look at some chunks and how it plays out over the next 5 days. Remembering, though, Sunday's an 11-game day. Monday's only a 2-game day, but Sunday is an 11-game day. And from here on out, there are 4 days. How many days are left in the actual NBA season? 10. 10 actual calendar days left in the NBA season. 4 of those days are non-streamable days. We've got an 11-game Sunday. We've got this is the following week, we've got a 15-game Friday, a 0-game Saturday, and a 15-game Sunday. So we have from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they are streamable next week, although 2 of those days are 10-game days, Tuesday and Wednesday. In saying all of that, this chunk section here, Thursday through to Monday, which ends this week and pushes into next, some leagues do go into the final week. I know a lot of you don't, playing Yahoo default, you finish on Sunday. But the ones I'm going to talk about here with this chunks, I'm going to exclude Sunday from it. And 4 of these 6 names do play 3 games in 5 nights, excluding Sunday. We'll start with Philadelphia with Dembona and Jared Butler. The Sixers are going to continue to frustrate us and confuse us. Be absolutely aware of this. Dembona looks great at the moment, but they could just play Yabusele, and they're signing Colin Castleton. Yes, Colin Castleton is back, this time in POG form, playing for the Sixers. So that can impact things too. Jared Butler, we saw, got benched, not for Doughton, but for Lonnie Walker. And he's going to be up and down, but 3 games in 5 nights. The next 2 guys only have 2 games on the low volume days, but it might be worth it. Ryan Rollins and Davion Mitchell. Now, their value is tied more to category leagues because of that ability to get assists and steals, but their 2 games should be okay. And then we get to more risky guys. Lonnie Walker, who's an empty points guy, although did flash an assist game the other day and had 7 boards, so maybe getting better. He can be inefficient though. The other one's Haywood Highsmith, which is always an adventure because he could play 33, could play 0. But with Wiggins being out and Little Chungus being out, it's a little bit safer there on Haywood Highsmith. But he does have 3 games in those 5 nights. We should look now at the 10-day contract tracker. And unfortunately for me, I forgot to change the top of this heading to say contracts, but it will on the second slide. I know that. What we're going to look at is Jalen Martin playing for the Wizards. Now, I'm going to guess/assume that he plays on Wednesday, meaning that Thursday will be his last day on his 2-way contract. That's what I'm trying to say. So if it goes as planned and Jalen Martin plays Wednesday and Thursday, that'll be it for him. And he's had a few interesting games. It's more deeper leagues. We go to Tosin Ebonwa in Brooklyn. He'll have 5 games left before Thursday's game. And then it's a lot of Philadelphia stuff. Jalen Hood-Schifino has 5 left. Alex Reese has 3 left. Jeff Doughton has 2 left. Now, the Sixers in total have 6 games left. So Hood-Schifino can play 5 of 6. Alex Reese can play half. Jeff Doughton can play a third, 2 of 6. And then there's Phil Wheeler, who is on his 10-day contract. He's got 1 game available left. The other 10-day guy they had is Marcus Bagley, and his contract expires tonight. So he will not be re-signed is the plan in Philadelphia because, like I said, they're bringing the GOAT Colin Castleton in on that other 10-day contract. And that 10-day contract will lead Castleton all the way through until the final day of the season, and then they can sign him onto that final day if they want. But he's got 5 games available to play across 10 days when Castleton signs Thursday morning, which is my expectation. The other one to watch there is in Toronto, Cole Swider has got, I said that he was on a 2-way. He's not. He's actually on a 10-day, so that's my bad. He's not a 10-day. He's not a 2-way guy. He's a 10-day guy. He's got 2 games left, Swider, but they can also extend him onto another 10-day contract to roll out the rest of the season. It is also, I think at this point, I'm going to try to make sure I do this every day, but after Thursday's games, that is it for the Magic for this week. So you can, if your league ends on Sunday, you are done with Magic players after Thursday. So just check your league. Make sure your commissioner doesn't have Paulo Banchero set on a can't cut list. Because after Thursday, you're cutting him. Unless you go into the final week. But that is it for them. So their week is over after Thursday's games. Should we go into some injury statuses? Let's talk about them. Colby Jones is listed questionable in terms of whether they're going to send him to the G League or not. And why is that important? Because he's been playing 30 minutes and getting some good numbers. If he is in or out, it is important because it means a little bit more for Martin and for Johnson and for what they do with Middleton or Smart, or who I just don't expect play, but they could be there. We watch that one. I'm putting Giannis on the list. Is Giannis officially on the injury report? No, he's not. But the reason I'm going to put him here is because they play the Sixers. And Giannis has been beat up with a knee, a calf, and a foot injury. Recently he's got a foot injury, but this is an opportunity on Thursday against the Sixers, a team that I'm telling you does not want to win. They've won 3 out of their last 40 games. They won't want to win. They will do everything to lose. So I would think there is a sizable risk of Yanni not playing here. AJ Green also, he's not important in terms of us using him in fantasy, but if his 25 minutes go away, Rollins does more, Trent does more, Prince does more, Porter maybe does more. In Philadelphia, Gershon Yabusele is important because if Yabusele is out, then it means Alex Reese, but more importantly, Colin Castleton and a Dembona can do more. And Castleton, if he finds 25 minutes and he's a better player than Reese, can be useful. He won't be quite as useful as he was in Toronto, but he could be. I still like Bona more. Giggity. Vince Williams Jr., I thought he was sitting because it was a back-to-back, but he was listed as out with an illness. And why is he important? It enables Aldama to get 31 minutes. If Aldama didn't get 31 minutes and was a 26-minute guy, I'd feel very much less confident in using him. And then the Raptors is what I talked about earlier. I expect that Pirtle and Quickly are out. I expect that Barrett plays. But the big question is, what do they play Barnes on the back-to-back against the Blazers? I am projecting it at the moment as if Barnes does not play. And then the last lot of injury updates to go to, we're talking about Portland, because I'm just not going to tell you that I expect Jeremy Grant to be out, because we all expect Jeremy Grant to be out. It is done for him. I also think they're going to ease things off, and they play the Raptors. They have a chance to theoretically catch the Raptors, but they've got to lose to them here. They won't lose, but they've got to lose. I don't think Scoot Henderson's going to play on his concussion, and I don't think Anthony Simons is going to play because they listed him with a forearm contusion, and let's be fair, that's not a real injury. And if he is missing games, and he has been very amenable to being rested down the stretch in previous seasons, so I think that they might sit him again here. And they play Toronto, then Chicago, then the Spurs, then the Jazz. So yeah, they've got to be careful what they do here, Portland. The other one is John Kuminga, and it does sound like he will play. Steve Kerr said that he will be available on Thursday, so we've just got to pay attention to that. We're going to come back, and we're going to look at Yahoo and ESPN Points League streaming, and then we're going to look at Category League streaming as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NCAA tournament is going. We are getting down to the end game, the nitty-gritty. And FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets if you just win your first $5 bet. That is $200 extra bucks to use on the NBA, on college basketball and the tournament, on Major League Baseball, on NHL playoffs. You can do that. Even NFL draft stuff is going to be up over on FanDuel as well. So pick who you want. The underdogs, the favorites, just your alma mater, which is a very distinctly American term, I believe. But that's okay, because you guys, majority of you, are in America. So is FanDuel, and that is where, and that, of course, they're America's number one sportsbook. That's what you can do. And when you win, you get paid out instantly. So go to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. We're going to take a break for 10 seconds for station identification. And then we're going to talk about, of course, we're not, I don't know, I hear that on shows and I go, what are you talking about? But I do sort of know. It's just, anyway, I can get a little bit loose here at the end of the season, because why not? Let's talk streaming. We're talking Yahoo Points League. We're talking the 6 sort of guys that I want to look at here, especially from a perspective of different league sizes. You know, we hit the 30% rostered, 20% rostered, 10% rostered, and 5% rostered marks on these, just to give you a bit of a broad overview of guys available. And there's going to be risky options in here, because sometimes we need to take the risks. And it's all very well for me to come and suggest, here's a 50% rostered player on a good team. It's John Kuminga, but like in most cases, this guy is rostered. He shouldn't be, but he is. I'm hitting the ones that are available in widely available spots, and that is the guys that are risky. Like a Dembona. A Dembona's been great. He was awesome across the weekend. But what if the Sixers play Yabusele and they play Reese and they play Castleton and Bona doesn't? It is possible. I still like it. Ryan Rollins looked really good. The shooting won't hold at that level, but is he worth a look? Yeah, I believe he will. I believe he's going to start without any question and play 25 plus easily, probably 30. But it could go absolutely nowhere. Cole Anthony, this is a little forward projection. He was on the way to putting up a very good line for the Magic in the last game. He played only 20 minutes in his first game back. I would think that they can push that to 25 easily. If he gets to 30, he smashes this number. I've got him projected about 26 minutes at the moment, 25 minutes, for this sort of projection of being a Yahoo ad. I don't think they need to persist with Corey Joseph. Mr. Black isn't any sort of a threat. And if they actually want to do something in the playoffs, they need somebody who can do something with some shooting and offense, and that is Anthony. So I actually think Cole Anthony, despite it being the final day of the week for the Magic, if you're looking for a single-day stream, that's where we go. Jared Butler is a risky play. He came off the bench last game. He still had his big assists, but it is a risk in terms of how they use him. AJ Johnson on the back-to-back. Now, he is playing a million minutes. He has had some solid games. He's had some terrible ones. But he played like 80 minutes combined his 2 previous games. We'll see what happens Wednesday. But I'm interested in him there, and the same as I'm interested in Lonnie Walker, who I do think that the Sixers will start again. He is a risky player, but if they feed him a lot of shots, like he could easily have 20 points on 18 shots with 5 rebounds and 4 assists, which for a points league turns into a very good game. And it's also great for the Sixers because that probably means you lose when Lonnie Walker's taking that many shots. But that puts him in that mix to be an option for us. If we go to ESPN Points Leagues, it's actually just the same sort of a list. Adem Bona, Ryan Rollins, Jared Butler, Cole Anthony, Lonnie Walker IV, and AJ Johnson. So a little bit of a change in order with some of those names, with Butler ahead of Anthony and Walker ahead of Johnson. But overall, the same sort of guys appear to be useful for me in this ESPN points scoring system, understanding the individual risks with these names. You could easily watch this show, or you couldn't listen to this show and do this, but you could watch this show and just look at the names and just take that stuff at face value, right? But I think that me explaining the value or the risk or the things that can go wrong on them is important too. So if you are just inclined to, and if you are, you're not going to hear me say this anyway, but if you are inclined to just scrub through, look at the list, you're going to go wrong. You're going to make mistakes because that's just not how this stuff works. We've got to talk about the inherent risks and ways that it can go, and whether it's an upside player or it's a safe floor play or that sort of stuff. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. We will come back and we will talk about category league streaming for points and threes, assists and steals, boards and blocks, and percentages. But I got to tell you now that it is daylight savings. It's here. It's ready for you guys, but that means that you've lost that hour of sleep. 1 hour sleep is not great to lose, is it? And you got to try and catch up. That's where 5 hour energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun. But it also means you might need a little boost to help power through. You might be staying up all night watching the tournament. You might be staying up watching double overtime games when Nikola Jokic drops a 60-point triple-double and somehow loses the game not thanks to Russell Westbrook. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're all day watching baseball. Maybe you're doing actual life things and working and going to school and doing whatever it is. 5 hour energy helps pick you up. It is a great way to give you that little burst. 5 hour energy is easy to grab and it can keep you feeling refreshed. You can go to 5hourenergy.com and there's over 15 different flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12 or 24 pack and get it delivered right to your door. Or if you need one now, you can go grab a 5 hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Everywhere. It's available all places. So stock up today and stay energized. Okay, that enables us now to look more at category leagues. Who are we going to be cracking into in terms of points and threes is where we'll start this little adventure off and get those scoring categories in. And we are going to go back to the Gary Trent well. And I hate that. I don't like saying that, but Trent has had some really rough games. And what I do know about him is he's bad, but he's also inconsistent. And with the absence of Lillard, if he gets hot one game and starts hitting 4 threes in the first half, then Glenn Rivers will ride him a little bit more. He'll play him 4 or 5 extra minutes. And there is a 20-point, 6-3, 2-steal upside in Gary Trent. That's what he can do. Or he can have 8 points on 11% with 1-3, which I don't think he's even got a steal over the last 4 games. That should come. But the points and threes, that's actually what he's there for. There is more usage to go his way. It hasn't been a successful run because, again, he is Gary Trent, but he is still worth going with. Jameson Battle, I'm putting here, again, with the asterisk that I am expecting that there is a significant chance that Scotty Barnes does not play on Thursday. I'm already projecting that Quickly and Pearl are out, and Barrett returns. But I think that Barnes might be out as well. Now, usually Battle starts when Barrett is out. That's a lot of Bs. But what if Barrett, Barnes, and Barrett Battle and... I just want to throw a lot of B jokes in there. Anyway, if RJ Barrett is in, which he is, but Barnes is out, does Battle start? Maybe. Or he just gets 25 minutes and can hit 4 threes with 14 points. He can do that. Lonnie Walker is a points and threes guy. That is what he's been known for his whole life, just being a points and threes guy, and he's a points and threes guy. And then we go to Jacoby Walter, Lonnie Walker the 5th, Gary Trent the 3rd, up in Toronto. Now, Walter has been doing some better things of late. And all this comes down to opportunity. And this is why we have to be always cautious about what we see in March and April. Because Walter's done a lot more things, but it's required Barrett to miss every second game, Quickly to miss every second game, Pirtle to miss every second game, Abaji to miss every second game, Barnes to play only 24 minutes a night, and of course, for the Raptors to be dickless. So that has helped Walter. And will those things all persist next season? No. And then they add Ingram to the mix as well. So be very cautious about what all these numbers mean forward projecting. But right now, it doesn't matter at all. Walter's doing some interesting stuff, and he's probably worth just grabbing. We go to Bub Carrington. Not automatic subtitles, not Bob Carrington, not short for Robert. Bub, short for Robert. He has been better. Now, he is inconsistent. The usage goes up and down. He does shoot threes, he will score, and the minutes are pretty locked in. So, Robert Carrington is worth looking at here for points and threes and some other stats too. And then it's Moses Moody. Even though Kuminga's going to return, Moody is just a 12 points, 3 threes, bang, lock it in. That's sort of what he's going to do. 24 minutes, maybe he pushes higher, but that's what he does. If you get 20 and 6, great. Unbelievable value to get that out of him, but don't expect it. Just get what you're given and like it. Should we look at assists and steals? Pretty obvious at the top here it is Ryan Rollins. He is a master thief. He will get those steals. Jamal Shed, that is what he does, and we're expecting that Quickly is out. So with Quickly out, Shed's minutes should bump. Hopefully. I just want to get a game where we get 30 minutes of Shed and see what happens. He can be a little iffy with the shooting, but 5-6 assists and 3 steals, easy upside value there. AJ Johnson is a risk. The minutes are safe. He could have a 6-assister and 3 steals. He could have a block game. He could have 20 points. He could have 4 points. But at least the role is there. Davion Mitchell's assists and steals, that's his middle name. It's not, but it's close enough. And Keon Johnson, who we haven't seen the Nets play for a couple of days. They're without Cam Johnson again. They also listed Zaire Williams is out, so be aware of that. And Jalen Wilson questionable. They are leaning a little bit more into the tank right now, maybe a little bit late, but they're doing it now. So Keon's there. And then we saw last game with Simons and with Scoot out. We just got almost 30 minutes of the paint to Matisse Thybulle. He delivered 5 assists and 5 steals. Now, the assists are a little fluky, but 5 steals, he could absolutely do that. That's what he does. He is one of the best steals guys out there. Unfortunately, you have to risk just doing nothing in a lot of other categories, but he's worth looking at, especially after what we saw last game. If you go to blocks and boards with some bigs here, Goga Badadze is like an 18-minute player at the moment. He's sort of got those minutes back. And he's not an ideal, he's not a guy you roster obviously as a long-term thing because they're done after Thursday. But Goga can be a 7-board, 2-block guy here. Orlando Robinson with the expectation that Pirtle is out and their backup center situation is Robinson and Mobo. Like, that's it. That's who their centers are. So we might get to 28. Could we get double digits? He actually hit 3 threes in the last game, Robinson. And at the moment, it hasn't actually mattered whether Pirtle's in or out. He plays 22 to 25 minutes each night. And that's actually probably enough just to roster him. I am putting Mobo on here, again, working under the assumption I think Barnes might not play. And if Barnes doesn't play, you should lock in at around 29 to 31 minutes of Mobo. He played that 31 last game anyway. He's going to play backup center. He might play starting power forward. There is enough there, I think, for Mobo to be considered. I'm going to put Jaxson Hayes there. It's not me expecting Hachimura out in this game, although he could be out. I expect he sits one of the back-to-back, probably the second, but he could sit Thursday. And if Rui is out, then Hayes jumps way up the top of this list. But otherwise, even in 20 minutes, Jaxson Hayes can be a boards and blocks guy. Also, with Day'Ron Sharpe out, with Noah Clowney out for the season with his 4th ankle sprain, that's rough stuff, man. Drew Timme is going to play. Now, is he going to be a blocks guy? Almost definitely not. Is he a bad player? Yeah. But could he be a double-digit rebound player? Yes. And I'm going to go the risky one here of Colin Castleton because at the moment, he actually doesn't belong to a team. But it is expected that as of Thursday morning, he will sign with the Sixers. Alex Reese's games are limited. I believe he can, what was the number I said before? 3? He could play 3 games. Yabusele, I don't know if he's in or out, but I wouldn't expect that they're targeting Colin Castleton if they're going to play Yabusele all the way through. So I think that Castleton will get a run at things, and he impressed in Toronto. So he's a darker horse, deeper league stream that if you added him, I'm sure people in your league would be going, bro, that's done, man. He doesn't play for the Raptors anymore. And you go, I know that, but he's about to play for the Sixers. It's a deeper league, emergency, desperation ad, but you never know. What about percentages? I'm putting Jaxson Hayes up there. I'm going to put Rashawn Holmes there as well, but that could do nothing because it is the second game of a back-to-back. Maybe we see Vukcevic play fewer minutes and Holmes play more. and that would mean he's a high field goal percentage guy. And then Goga's there as well. For free throws, we go to Michael Conley, we do go to Cole Anthony, and Jalen Wilson, although Wilson has just been targeted with a questionable tag. With Zaire Williams out, Wilson should be able to do more, but he also might not. If Wilson and Williams are out, maybe that does mean Ed Bonmar moves into a larger role and is somewhat useful, but you're going to have, or Trenton Watford would be the other guy there as well, because you do have no Noah Clowney in that situation. Also, that, guys, is, I think that might be the end. It is. I wish I could duck into a burrito right now. I know breakfast burritos are a thing. They're not really a thing here over in Australia. It is a breakfast time here, so I'm probably not going to have one of those, but I wouldn't mind an old chorizo and potato breakfast burrito with some hot sauce. Maybe you can celebrate with it. Maybe send me photos of you eating a burrito. Or maybe don't. Anyway, just get ready to lock in your team. Get ready to set your lineups. I've got to go set mine for the day. I'll be back with a recap show later on of all of Wednesday's action. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.